Hello, 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 my animal loving friends. I'm Denise Fleck, the Pet Safety Crusader, and today I'm taking page 218 out of the Pet Safety Bible to talk to you about inhaled poisons. Now, before I do that, let me just mention a few things. People have been asking about the Pet Safety Bible. It should be available on Amazon come April. We've already created the second edition before it officially even got out there because there was so much new protocol I wanted to include in it. You will also find come April that not only will it be the Pet Safety Bible, but you will be able to get the Cat Safety Bible and the Dog Safety Bible, each with specific canine or feline needs and procedures that'll help you get through any emergency, as well as the good times with your pet, making sure the good times stay going for a long, long time to come. But today we are taking page 218 out of it to talk about inhaled poisons. And I'd like to start off by talking to you a little bit about your pet's nose, his sniffer. Say, for instance, especially now that the weather is getting nice, we're going to go out for a stroll. Maybe we're just going to go quickly to the mailbox, not a big deal. But you and your dog go side by side out that front door, crossing that threshold. As you're walking down that walkway, it's possible that some yummy smells might be wafting across the air. Your neighbor might be cooking something terrific. Maybe you identify it as stew. You sniff and you smile and you get a little hungry maybe. As you get closer to the street where the mailbox is, you might smell some exhaust if a car had gone by recently. And then finally, as you open the mailbox and reach in to get your mail, if you're lucky enough to have a beautiful scented lilac bush or a rose bush or something right there, you might lean over, take a sniff, and enjoy that heavenly aroma. But as far as that walk goes, that's pretty much what your human nose has detected. Your canine best pal, however, has been on overdrive probably since the moment he crossed that threshold from the indoors to the outdoors. He probably has been nose to the ground, sniffing every little creature that has crossed that walkway, whether it was a caterpillar or a snail, whether it was a cat or a squirrel. He picked up their unique little marker and knows that, they have been there. As he gets, as he continues on his walk, if he actually lifts his head up to smell that neighbor's stew, to your dog it isn't stew. It's beef, it's potatoes, it's carrots, it's thyme, it's garlic, it's onions, it's all the ingredients. Each again have their own specific scent that his amazing olfactory organ here can pick up. As he gets to the street, yeah, there's probably some exhaust, but he's much more interested in sniffing around the base of that mailbox. There he can tell what other doggies have been by to pay a visit, if they're male or female, if the female happens to be in heat, and actually how tall the male is, maybe by the height of the pee stream. If he does take time to smell that lilac or rose bush, yeah, there's a beautiful scent, but he's much more interested in the difference between the decaying leaf and the bright green young new leaf, the scent that that butterfly or ladybug recently left behind. And then as you take your last step there, taking that mail out of the mailbox, your dog's sniffing it and is smelling everybody that has touched that envelope from St. Louis to Los Angeles or wherever it happened to be. And if he could speak words, your dog could probably tell you what the lady who licked the envelope had for dinner. So I know, goofy story, but it illustrates how much more in tune our pets are with their noses than we are. And what that means is because they're much more sensitive to the smells, they're taking them in and they can be much more affected by them, adversely or even in a positive way with certain aromatherapy. So it's important that we just really pay attention, because in the morning when you put sugar in your coffee, you probably don't notice the smell of sugar, but your dog can smell a spoonful of sugar in an Olympic-sized pool of water. So, like I said, I think that illustrates the point. And if you read the blog I have posted here, there's also a little video link to go to that kind of illustrates a little bit more about the dog and how he inhales through the nostrils, but then exhales through those side slits, whereas we inhale and exhale through the same opening, so to speak. So there's this just much more refined sense of smell. Now, because of this, we have to be so careful. And now that spring's coming, I know some of you are in for a bomb cyclone this week, and you have no thoughts of spring on your horizon. But others, spring is happening, buds are starting to bloom, people are getting out fertilizers and insecticides, they're cleaning the house and getting out all sorts of cleaners and sprays. So whether it's something spritzed in a bottle or just an open jar or bottle that you're using to clean, make sure it is pet and wildlife friendly. Remember also what your dog doesn't sniff in the air. If it spills, he could ingest through his, absorb through his paws, and then also ingest when he licks it off his paws. And I'm saying his paws, but it could also be a female kitty cat or, you know, what other furry family member you have. Inhaled poisons can be aerosols, they can be sprays, they could be those room fresheners, it can be the perfume or cologne you wear, it can be gas if you're starting to fire up the barbecue grill. So there are so many things that our pets can inhale, but really can end up causing them danger. Hey, Deborah Jo, so happy to see you, because you know what? I was going to give you a surprise shout out today. So stay tuned for just a moment. So the important thing is whether it's spa or pool chemicals, cleaners, insecticides, fertilizers, and all of these things we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks when I do talk about absorbed and ingested poisons as well. The important thing is whenever you're using anything that could be toxic to your pet, get your pets out of that airspace. Remove them until all of it has dissipated. And that means whether things have dried so that they can't stick to their paws. But today we're talking specifically about things they can inhale through those noses. If you get somebody to come professionally fumigate your house and they say, oh, it's fine around the animals, ask them to put it in writing that it is pet safe, that your dog won't be harmed. There's going to be a big hesitation, I'm sure, for them to do so. Sure, some animals won't be affected, but others are just much more sensitive, and we never want to err on the side. We always want to actually err on the side of caution. We never want to give it up to somebody else saying, oh, it's going to be fine for your dog. So that's always a good thing. If they won't put it in writing, I'm not saying don't hire them, but make sure your dog, your cat, your bird, your rabbit, your guinea pig, your piggy pig, isn't in the space at the time, and that you don't bring them back until there's no more scent in the air that they can detect. Sometimes that might be up to 24 hours. When an animal breathes toxic fumes, pretty much it's going to inflame the nostrils and it's going to result in breathing problems. It may also form some conjunctivitis or some kind of redness in the eyes. We all know when we smell things, sometimes if you smell a bleach or an ammonia, your eyes start to tear because they're trying to water to clean things out. So any kind of breathing difficulty will alert you, or sneezing. Animals can even have seizures from being in a room with scents that are toxic to them. So your first action step is to get the animal out of that contaminated environment. Get him, you know, of course, try to have him on a leash or wrapped in a towel, but get him out to fresh air and start to breathe. If he isn't recovering quickly, if that good oxygen isn't getting into his lungs and solving the problem, you're going to need to get to quick veterinary care. Obviously, monitoring along the way if you need to actually do rescue breathing if you notice that your pet isn't breathing. And remember, anytime that the animal isn't breathing for, you know, a few moments, the heart can stop as well. Now, the reason I was going to give a shout out to my bestie, Deborah Jo, here is I wanted to talk to you about pet oxygen masks and the Emazen Foundation. If you're lucky enough to, you know, some people now, especially if they have pets in hospice or other critical situations, they might actually have compressed oxygen at home, but generally most of us do not. But thanks to Deborah Jo and the Emazen Foundation, more and more communities have these pet oxygen masks. Now, you know, it just depends on the community. If you live in a little Mayberry RFD, it's going to be a little bit different than living, you know, in downtown Los Angeles. But you can't generally just call the fire department and say, my dog isn't breathing, come help. Obviously, the humans are the priority. However, if they're coming to your house because there's a fire and they've gotten all the humans out, now they can rescue your pet if they have these specially equipped pet oxygen masks. You see my friend here standing with hers already on it, hooked up to the compressed oxygen. These masks come in 3 sizes. That would be the large. Here's the small that you see on my little kitty friend. And then there's a medium as well. The large is generally for our larger dogs. The medium could be more the hounds and the terriers, depending on their size. And the small is so versatile. I mean, from cats to rabbits to snakes to birds to flat-faced pugs and Pekingese. These really, really can be lifesavers. So I have the Facebook page tagged on here, but please check out EmmaZenFoundation.com. For those of you that don't know, and I'm sure a lot of you do know because I talk about Emma Zen a lot, Emma Zen is a 108-pound black Labrador Great Dane who rides in a Harley sidecar and speaks her own language to let people know about pet safety. And she has done an amazing job along with her mom and dad and her all different species of siblings. And because of this foundation that Deborah Jo started, gosh, I've lost how many years, but I guess we're approaching close to 10 because Deborah Jo and I met, I think back in 2008, 7 or 8, when she took a first aid class of mine, and we've just been attached at the hip, even though we're on opposite coasts now ever since. But please, this is an amazing thing that, you know, community should have. Every community should have it because pets die from smoke inhalation. And these, obviously, you see with a special gasket, really can help a pet. I know we've all seen heartwarming photos of a human first responder putting a human oxygen mask over an animal to save his life, but the oxygen just isn't being as readily inhaled as it is with this secure gasket. They can really get the oxygen into them much more efficiently. So please check out Emma Zen Foundation. And then I just want to talk a little bit also about our feathered friends as well, because birds are highly sensitive to fumes. If you're cooking with a Teflon pan, you don't even have to overcook it or have it on too high of a heat. It can be toxic to the bird. So, and that Teflon comes in all sorts of things. It's not just your pan. It might be in your clothes dryer. It might be in your curling iron, your waffle, what do you call it? Waffle pan grill maker. I can't think of the word right now. Hair dryers, space heaters. Teflon is used in a lot of things. It's actually the I'm going to have to look this one up because I'll never remember it. Polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE, is what's dangerous. But secondhand smoke is also dangerous to our birds, to our dogs, and our cats. If you're smoking a joint, birds can actually really get some regurgitation and depression from inhaling the secondhand smoke from that. And we know there are other harms from just, you know, a regular cigar or cigarette that our pets are inhaling if they're in a room constantly with this. So always keep your furry and feathered and your scaled and finned as well, best pals, away from any of these toxic fumes. Their noses are much more sensitive, they're more highly attuned, and these things can be truly toxic. Make sure you have carbon monoxide detectors in your home. You know, remember, carbon monoxide is smellless and tasteless, but you know, it's going to cause humans and animals to pass out, go unconscious, and pass away. So make sure you have all these smart things that you should, since you're a conscientious, well-prepared, responsible pet parent. You know, things that you may not even think about, scented candles, potpourri. These can all be problematic to birds and other pets. Be very careful when you're cleaning their cages. Don't use bleach for birds, for rabbits, for guinea pigs, for hamsters. There are special cleaners for the cages, or use a diluted solution of white vinegar, which does have antibacterial properties. But don't use bleach around those animals. I know in kennels, bleach is sometimes used for kitty cats and very often used for dogs, but it's never used around the rabbits, the birds, or the smaller pocket pets. Again, with the birds, just like with a dog or a cat, if you're noticing breathing difficulties, conjunctivitis, problems with the eyes, they too can kind of have spasms or flutters too from the toxins. It's a poison, remember. It's being inhaled, it's not injected, it's not being tasted, but it's a poison getting into their bloodstream and into their lungs and their oxygen supply. So it can truly be deadly. And if birds are subjected to toxic fumes over a long period of time, low levels, they can actually get bacterial infections as well. So just like with our dogs and cats, get them out of that toxic, contaminated environment into the fresh air. And if they aren't doing better rather quickly, get them to your exotic veterinarian, your avian vet, for care immediately. There are steps, and I know some of you have taken my bird first aid class already online or read the book. There are some, steps what to do as far as rescue breathing and CPR on our feathered friends, as well as on our four-legged furry friends. So I caution you to be prepared ahead of time before an emergency happens. As the saying goes, it's always better to be prepared and better to be safe rather than sorry. So just remember, when you have a furry, feathered, fin-scaled pet in your life, a family member, that it is your responsibility to protect them from all harms and dangers. Keep paws, claws, feathers, wings, and little bunny feet too as well out of harm's way. Thanks so much for joining me again today. Remember to check Emma Zen Foundation to learn about getting pet oxygen masks in the 3 sizes. The 3 sizes come in one kit so that your community first responders can help jump to the situation and really make a life-saving change for the furry, feathered, thin-skinned, and I'm getting all confused today, family members in your life. Take care and pause up for pet safety, and check back next week. We're going to talk about absorbed poisons, and the following week, ingested poisons. Once again, each week we're taking a page out of the Pet Safety Bible. I'm Denise Fleck, the Pet Safety Crusader. Happy to see all of you loving our animal friends. Bye-bye for now.